you. So I hope you can see on your screens, there should be two windows, one with me and one with this paper in my hands, kind of a close-up of the paper in my hands. So I'm going to teach you how to fold canoes. And
Wait a minute, we're not seeing that on the screen. So Lisa, are you there? It hasn't switched over.
Okay, you're not seeing.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing on the screen. Can someone else chime in? Paul, are you looking on an iPhone or something? Because sometimes it's different.
No, I'm on my computer, and for some reason I still see the author and artist logo.
Oh, you don't see me?
Well,
I
that's
see you up on
weird.
top, but I don't see you being showcased in the middle as you were before.
Oh,
Okay. Let me see if I can fix that.
do people have to put it on speaker view maybe? So maybe while
How about that, Paul? Do you see it now?
I don't, so you should check in. Am I the only one? I don't want to hold this up. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was seeing it.
I see that Lisa says she can see me on one screen and hands in the other. So, okay. Other people are seeing two screens. So I'm not sure why you're not, Paul, but we'll just go ahead and I'm going to just try to be aware that some people may not be seeing the other screen. So I'm going to teach how to fold paper canoes and also cranes. And you might want to get a few other supplies if you have paper that's just regular paper. If you don't have this, special Joss paper, you can make the paper square by folding it, one corner really sharp like that, and folding and then cutting along this edge. That edge will make this middle part a square. So you can see this piece is actually not totally square. So this needs to be totally square if you want to do a crane. So you don't have to do this if you don't want to fold the crane. And so you might want scissors. There's a part of the boat folding that it would be really helpful if you had a penny or a dime or a small coin like that. So if you can find one of those, or a popsicle stick will also work. Those aren't absolutely necessary, but if you have, a penny lying around, that would be good to bring in. Okay, so I'm going to begin with a guided meditation, just so that we can get really connected with this paper that we're going to fold. So I'd like you to take whatever paper you have available and hold it in your hands. Just hold it between your fingers, and you can bring it close up to your eyes, because I'm going to ask you to really look at it and smell it. So holding the paper at first at a bit of a distance, just softly gaze at the surface of the paper. And bring it a little bit closer, and really let your eyes follow the grooves, the texture. You might notice small, darker fibers and little specks of color. And really look at the metal. If you're holding Joss paper, the thin layer of metal, of gold or silver, that's just resting on this piece of paper. And as you're holding the paper, notice the contact between the surfaces of the paper against the skin of your fingers. And imagine where the fiber for this paper came from. Imagine the bamboo growing on the other side of the world. How many years of growth before the bamboo was cut down and then processed and beaten to a pulp to make this paper. You might want to bring the paper up to your nose and smell it. And see if you can smell a difference between the part that has the metal on it and the part that doesn't. And then let's allow our minds to consider the hands that made this paper, the hands that chopped down the bamboo, the hands that excavated the metal, the hands that layered the metal on this piece of paper. All right, and I'd like to ask if anyone would like to share what sensations came up. If you'd like to share anything about that experience, we'll just give ourselves a minute to do that.
So people can use the raise hand feature if they want to be recognized, and I'll unmute you so that you can speak.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and begin the folding, and I'll ask again at a later point if anybody would like to share. First we'll fold the canoe, and for this one, we'll start by folding the paper in half. And with origami, you really want to line up the edges and then crease it well. But this paper is not like origami paper. It's a little bit more delicate than origami paper. So you want to be careful not to be too harsh on it. Then we open up that fold. So there's a lot of folding and unfolding in origami. So we fold and unfold. That fold was just to give us the guideline for where this fold is going to go. So then now you fold each of the two sides into the center, line it up with the center, give it a nice crease, turn it over, and line up the other edge to the center. And then we're going to bring both sides together and just, gently crease both sides. And then we'll open it up, and then fold the other way. This is the accordion fold. Okay, so now what you should have is the paper folded in fourths like this, kind of an accordion. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Now we're going to open up one side of the one flap so that you have the shiny gold part facing down. And now we're going to fold each of these four corners into the center line. So we're going to start with the side that's triple layered. Sometimes it's helpful to put your fingernail on the line so that it helps to make that point really sharp. And then you line up that top edge with this middle line and give it a nice crease. Then same thing with the other side. Now we turn it over and do the same thing to the other side. Especially with the triple layered side, it's helpful to put your fingernail on the center line as a guide. Okay. Is everybody following along okay? I can't see anybody, so I'm going to assume everyone's doing okay. So now we have this shape. We're going to fold this whole thing in half. So you have a trapezoid like this. And you'll find on this side of the trapezoid, the long edge, that you'll be able to open it up. And this is beginning to become a boat, right? So now we're going to do a reverse fold in each of these two corners to make the bottom of the boat. So to do that, it helps to fold the corner, one of the end corners in like this. And you don't want to crease there necessarily, but just fold it there so that we can fold the corner of the boat down like that. So see, I just folded this corner down so that it's about, the bottom edge is about an inch. Okay, and then we're gonna open that back up, and this is where we're gonna actually push this corner inside. So it helps to put a finger or a thumb on the inside, and then this is where you'll take a penny or a popsicle stick or something. It helps to have something a little bit rounded so that it doesn't poke through the paper. And then we're going to push that corner in. And then you can kind of use your thumb and the finger that's inside to fold that edge, to crease that edge. Okay? So that's one side of the boat. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we start by folding the end in and then turn it over and fold the folded edge down and crease it. Then we're going to open up that fold and open up this edge again. Turn it over, put your finger in the inside and get your penny and push that tip gently inward. And just guide it into place with your finger and your thumb. Okay, so now we have these little folds that will help make the bottom of the boat. And the final step is to fold up the edges. I usually fold them just kind of gentle creases like that because I like it to sort of have a little bit more of a rounded bottom. And there's your canoe. So I'm going to give you the chance to practice that. Hopefully you have more than one piece of this paper. So I'm going to let you practice that, and maybe I'll try to fold and read the poem at the same time. So you can fold and read at the same time. But let me just check and see. How did everybody do? Can I just hear from a couple of you?
One person typed in that they were following fine.
Good.
Others, please raise hand and I'll unmute you or type.
Okay. I'm going to assume that everybody's doing okay, and I'm just going to keep going.
Someone says that they're not sure their canoe is seaworthy.
Oh.
Great.
You can try it in the sink afterwards. Okay. So the poem that goes with this canoe folding is, it's called My People Sent Me a Canoe. Last night, my people sent me a yellow canoe, floating gently into my dreams. Flash flood of flash floods, backyard brooks surged into ravaging rivers, waves crested over the sill, broke glass, water rushed through. My arms reach instinctively for my babies, all grown by day. But in my dreams, time winds back. Their vulnerable bodies hover near mine. We look for escape routes through the one window in the room. Flooded to our necks, we see the rescue vessel. How to fold a canoe. Fold in half, sides to center. Accordion fold. Unfold one edge. Corners to wrong sides. So you see this one, I haven't quite coordinated the words with the folds as I did with 1,000 Gifts of Decolonial Love. Fold in half, open to find gold. Actually, it's like this. Fold, corners to wrong side. And then fold in half. Open to find gold. Fold tiny corners. This time I'm doing it, I'm going to do both corners. I'm going faster than last time, so hopefully you can follow along. Unfold, push in penny to reverse fold. A fold in time, compressing 2,000 years, racing from Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama to Nova Scotia. Storm Dorian turned rain into ruins. Year 5000. Taino people found refuge in the Bahamas. Year 1492. Columbus lands, commits genocide. Escaping enslaved people found refuge in the Bahamas. Seminoles fleeing the US Army found refuge in the Bahamas. Tourists seeking escape from colonial life find refuge in the Bahamas. Year 2019, population in the Bahamas, 90% Afro-Bahamian. The Mud houses the nation's largest Haitian immigrant community. People, trade, risk for the necessity of a place to live. September 2019, the Mud decimated by Storm Dorian. Disasters are not natural, he wrote. Disaster is designed into the homes of vulnerable people. We settlers, safely inland, learn to design disaster for vulnerable people, building into their homes accumulated risk. Fold up sides, float canoe, burn canoe to send to our ancestors. Fold another for Black lives, whisper, enough is enough. A prayer to undo unnatural disaster. Okay, I'm going to pause there and see if there are any comments or questions before we try the canoe. I mean the crane.
I think people might still be folding, trying to catch up a little bit. Mine certainly doesn't look as straight as yours.
All right. So maybe we'll go ahead and this is the moment if you want to try the crane to make your paper square. So
there is. Do you want to take one more question on the canoe?
Oh yeah, sure.
I guess it's a practical question. How did you get the ends to come up?
These ends, I'm assuming. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to backtrack this one. So here we are with the trapezoid, like that. And then on the long side, we open it up. And then these ends, I folded them in like this, just so that I could fold this part. And this fold is just a crease. It's just to crease that edge. But then you're going to unfold that and unfold this, right? And then when you turn it over and you use the penny to, you can also use your thumbnail, I think, but I think the penny works better to push in that corner. You have to crease it again really good there, so that when you turn it over and you fold up the sides, that's what gets the tail end to kind of, pop up. I hope that made sense. Yeah, so this is, I've never done this kind of workshop webinar style. So it is kind of unnerving not to be able to hear from people. I think some people are probably maybe having a hard time with the raise hand feature. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to plug away, and then hopefully some folks will figure out how to unmute yourself so that you can speak. So if you have paper that's not entirely square, to make it square, what we want to do is fold the fold corner to corner like this, making sure that one edge of the paper lines up, the top edge lines up with the side edge, and then crease it. And that'll show you how much you have to cut away to make it a square. So then take your scissors, or if you don't have scissors, you can also just fold this edge, you know, along that edge like this. And then, you know, tear it away. This paper doesn't tear that great, so I'm going to use scissors. Okay, so this one is, I'm making the square for the crane, and the crane is a little bit more complex. So I'm going to try to, let's see, I'm going to try to read 1,000 Gifts of Decolonial Love as I'm folding, and I'm probably going to need to pause and offer some instruction. So you can follow along as I'm going to kind of start the folding as I'm reading. Movement 1, Paper Cranes Instructional. To prepare for funerals, we fold paper gold. To prepare for eating peanuts, Dad folds paper boxes for holding shells. Mom folds paper cups for holding water. Zuji is how we say paper folding in Hokkien. We fold useful things, sacred things, paper cups, paper gold. Now we fold cranes to remember. First 4 folds, mountain and valley. Fold edge to edge, corner to corner. Fold memory into paper. Unflatten 2D field into 3D space. So you see what I did there was I folded these folds towards the good side, and then the corner to corner folds on the other side, so that the gold is showing. And doing that will help with the next step, which is going to be to, oops, sorry, I did that wrong. It should be the other way. Okay, so these folds should be with the gold out. So you can just refold all of these the other direction. And then the corner to corner with the gold on the inside. Okay. Precarity held in paper form. We fold 1,000 for a wish. To honor, to remember and honor Hibakusha, survivors of atomic radiation. We fold to honor islanders everywhere, drowning existence, endangered like 11 of 15 crane families. Next, bring valley to valley. So this is the part where, you know, here you had the flat piece, and you're gonna let the sides collapse so that they fold down into a diamond like this. Next, bring valley to valley, reverse fold a diamond like the crane's migratory formation, open end facing your heart. See how this side is open? So that should be facing this towards your heart. Kite fold like diaper folds, wings to center. So here you want to put your fingernail right on the corner there and fold one edge into the center, lining up with the center line. Fingernail, like that. Flip over, repeat. Caress the folds. Score with thumbnail. That's like this, which is more important to do with origami paper or if you're using regular printer paper. Okay. From this side of the ocean, across miles of mountains and valleys, I fold, unfold, refold, shrink the distance between my home on Turtle Island and Taiwan, my birthplace, between the Japanese Empire and occupied Taiwan, an island someone once called Mudball in the sea. Mom called it a speck, a booger picked from the flaring nostril of China. Sorry. Now fold down a hat. So you're following this edge here. Fold down a hat. Like a bamboo farmer's hat my grandfather wore in the peanut fields. Unfold, flip over, repeat. Petal fold. So now you unfold that, and then you unfold these sides also. Petal fold, like a rosebud blooming, move slow as drifting clouds, unfold wings, bend back. Okay, so for petal fold, this is a really tricky fold. I like to put my thumbs in these corners right there because that helps to bring the edges in. So you bring in the edges, and then you might want to put your finger inside this flap so that when you press it down, you make a nice point like that. And now I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing again. So you open up the flaps, and then you put your thumbs inside this opening and put your thumbs right at the corners there, and then bring the two outside flaps inward like this. And then as you fold down this top part, you have to kind of gently guide, that side into a nice corner. Gently nudge apart an opening, spread wide like lips, rounding to catch a drop of rain. Caress edges, flip over, repeat. Black-tipped, widespread wings, spread wings to fly like the lost Siberian crane that landed in Huang Chengsun's field one lazy June day. First sighting ever in Taiwan. The farmer named his rice in honor of his new snail-eating friend, Jin Ho. So what I'm doing now is I'm sort of preparing for the next fold because these edges are going to need to go in. And you want to be sure that you're folding on the side where these are kind of like legs, that separate. This side is connected, right? And this side is not connected. So you want to be folding on the side where the two legs are separate. Such a majestic celebrity of endangerment. Is beauty enough to shield it from extinction? How many folds to make a crane? How many cranes to instill cultural memory? How many grandmothers, grandchildren to transmit culture? Find the legs, prime the point, fold edges of legs towards the center, leaving a margin for layers. So in other words, this edge doesn't go all the way to the center this time. There's a little bit of a gap right there. Every fold multiplies layers, density. This fold times 4. Then open each side. Paper folding is performance art, pop culture of another era. These moves, a language of their own, a carrier of cultural knowledge. like shepherds' knots accounting for sheep bleating in green fields. How many post-invasion years or decades will it take to obliterate cultural memory? How many generations of dreaming to restore forgotten language, culture, ceremony? We enfold the colonizer's art, the master's tools. They may never dismantle his house, but could this technology bring to life another kind of home? Animal home, vegetable, fungal, spirit home. Raise the legs, reverse fold into neck and tail. So this part you have to open up, sorry, let me see. You have to open up the side, and a reverse fold is like this. You're bringing up this flap, and then you're gonna fold that the opposite direction, and then bring it into this valley. So that will form a head or the tail. And you do the same with the other side. So we'll do that again so you can see. You open up this side and then bring the whole flap upwards like this. Fold the top part of that flap and then kind of nudge it into this valley, and using your thumb and other finger on the other side, crease that flap. How many post-invasion years or decades will it take to obliterate cultural memory? Oh, I read that. Okay. So we're at raise the legs, reverse fold into neck and tail. Each reverse fold makes slim, symmetrical extensions. You choose which will be the head. So you see this side is not as sharp and nice looking as that side. So I usually choose the one that's, you know, a little goofed up to be the head, because you're going to just fold, you're going to do a reverse fold similar to this fold to make the head like that. So we bring the flap down and then stick your fingernail into the center and then just squish the top, and that makes the head. Fold, unfold, refold, a prayer for the Siberian crane, the most critically endangered of 11 sister cranes, pushed closer to extinction every warming year, their marshy homes drained for farming, their existence made more precarious by the rising heat of our extractive habits, by our insatiable pumps sucking black gold out of sacred soil, and water, the bluest gold, from our earthly commons. Last fold makes the beak, sounds the alert call. Imagined empires break apart clans, families, economies of conquest, erect walls between communities, interrupt intergenerational bonds, sever storylines carried by our grandmothers, and we resist. We fold, we hold onto ancestral memory, manual memory, muscle knowledge, plant medicine, animal relations, interbeing, sun, moon, yin yang cycles, always moving like salty waves, falling, rising, folding, unfolding into infinite timelessness. Folding a beak is an act of resistance, a reversal of space and time. We can make flesh of cultural memory and release a revolutionary chorus of all beings. So I also folded the wings down. These side flaps can be folded down for the wings. And then if you want it to be a little more 3D, you can blow into the opening at the bottom. Well, it didn't quite work, but that, if I think this kind of paper, it doesn't work so well, but you can also kind of just pull the wings apart and push down on the top, and it's a little bit more 3D. And that's it. I think we're really close to the end of time. So I just, for a couple minutes, want to see if there's any questions or comments.
Okay, attendees, so go ahead and raise your hand and I'll unmute you so you can speak directly.
Looks like Robert is raising a hand. Robert Eugene Perry.
Hello.
Hi.
Go ahead, Robert, you can ask your question.
Oh, I am so sorry. I I thought it was time. I'm sorry. I actually I don't have a question for you. I thought it was time to start the open mic. My apologies.
Okay, no problem. I see a comment from Lisa, way beyond my skill set, but was wonderful to watch you. Yeah, the crane is pretty tricky to learn on a one-time go. Barbara says, I didn't have paper, but we'll watch the video and try later. Great. Love the interaction with your poetry and paper folding. Let Paul publish you. All right. Well, it's 1 o'clock, so I think I should clear the space and welcome, and Lisa at least can welcome the open mic.